Hello, I'm Nancy Hungerford, moderator and former CNBC anchor, and I am delighted to be leading this conversation at such a pivotal time for AI and innovation and everything going on in this space. It's going to transform the customer experience as well. And I'm here with an esteemed panel. That is Alan Winters. Lovely to see you.
Nice to be here.
Also with us is Eitan Greenspoon, who is a professor at the University of Toronto in mathematics and computer science.
Happy to be here.
And last but not least, of course, Joshua Friedman, who is the CEO of 6 Seconds, the leading nonprofit encouraging emotional intelligence in the practice of. At this time when we're focusing so much on computers and AI, we're keen to get your thoughts on the emotional component.
There's some research on customer experience, which is that people can tell the difference between a real smile and a fake smile. They prefer a fake smile to a grumpy face.
Oh,
Okay. But they know it's a fake smile. And I think that same algorithm may apply here, which is AI will provide a very consistent simulation of a sort of quasi-caring customer expert, right? And like it'll sound pretty good. And so you might eliminate that kind of really grumpy
Yeah.
experience, but I don't think it'll ever come to that place where it's like, wow, I was really uplifted by that conversation.
makes sense.
I was really touched by this conversation. I don't think that'll happen. So it's like the sort of, we can accomplish, I think, with AI a very base level, just like, already AI can do a base level of writing that's sort of moderately convincing or images that are moderately convincing. And yet you kind of look at it and go, that's AI.
You know it's AI. Yeah.
There's a lot of improvisation and personal experience that goes into the best interactions with customer service that are much harder to introduce into an AI agent that is providing that and that provides a difference. But I think besides that, there's the question of whether you're going to hide from the customer calling in, whether they're dealing with an AI or a human. And to the extent that they know it's an AI, even if the AI is perfectly human-like, there's something different there.
Yes.
So what this raises for me, it's like we have an AI that can provide this sort of baseline. Let's just imagine we're, a few months to a few years in the future, and the AI can provide this sort of baseline customer experience. This is why we need humans to be better than AIs. And I think the place where we can be better is with genuine emotion. And so AI is simulating emotion. We need to get skilled with the genuine emotion. And that's the case for.
And I think we're just going to see that progress over time, because if you look at in our industry, when IVRs first came out, everybody said no one's going to speak to a live agent.
Right.
They're going to do automation. When ATMs came out, bank tellers were going to go away, but people still go into retail
Because
bank.
they want the connection.
Because there's always been something around the customer contact preference. And that's why companies have multiple channels for people to interact with them however they want to. Now, they, of course, use methods to try to get them to lower cost channels that get the right answer at the right time, et cetera. So this is the same thing. We're just now seeing that progress on a little bit different level from an AI perspective, and it's going to take time to balance it. I agree with you. We will absolutely see companies go 100% to automation. You can only not speak to a live person, but I think you'll see companies that are really focused on their client, their customers, and their people will have that right balance where they use the technology to make their people better, to provide better service.
And I think to build on that and to build on what Josh said, I think that they can still leverage AI to make the experience better for their people who are answering the phone calls, and to make the experience better for the people who are calling in. Because AI can be used ahead of time during onboarding for training,
Exactly.
but it can also be used during an actual call for at least two things. One is to offload the part that a human would like offloaded. I would like the appropriate policies and the appropriate next pathways to just come up for me. I don't need to have them looked up. If the AI can hear what's going on and provide.
And that's the holy grail.
Right.
That's what learning management systems and knowledge-based systems have been trying to do for years.
Right? But they're still cumbersome.
Yeah.
Second, I may be having a good day or a bad day, or I may be close to my lunch hour and tired, right? Or I may have just gotten off the call with a customer that was difficult. There's all kinds of scenarios where my own empathic ability is going to be heightened or lowered compared to its baseline, or my ability to recognize and flex my communication style to yours is going to vary. So rather than replacing me, AI can still be listening and presenting prompts to me to help me, to trigger me, to invoke the training I received before. So, I was in this seminar as part of my professional development that taught me about how to flex my communication style towards a goal-oriented person. I'm very connection-oriented. I'd rather ask Nancy how her weekend was, but she wants her refund. All right.
Cut the talk out.
The AI can catch on to the fact that I'm trying to connect with her and give her a hug, and that's not what she wants. And the AI can steer me and say, let's insert a goal sentence here. Here's a couple examples. And so as I get that prompting during the calls, I'm continuously improving myself and learning how to flex my style. And on the days when I'm just not able to do it myself, it's catching that and giving me those prompts.
I kind of want my watch to do this.
Yeah.
You're kind of sounding like a jerk right now. Like, hey, shut up.
Give you little pointers so you know. Great, yeah. Like when it tells you your heart rate's high.
It helps you be a better version of who you already are, right?
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a company, though, applying that to the company level, it should ideally help you be a better version of who the company is, right? And what you described, Alan, is like the holy grail. Can you give us a better idea at TP of how you're juggling this balancing act? Because that does sound like the perfect mix where you're trying to balance operational efficiency while still having the human component, but it's not always easy to do.
No, it's not.
How do you do it?
And I think that you have to start, I think, when you're looking at those questions is what problem are you trying to solve?
Right.
Now, really understand if it's our TP experts problem or a end customer, et cetera. But I think very soon we'll be able to take some of this technology. So as an example, we are developing what we call AI quality coaches. We'll have 1,000 of those worldwide. And their whole job is to listen to interactions and then provide a coaching plan based on emotional intelligence. Well, instead of listening to a call, what happens if AI uses those cues and identifies that you need to go speak to this person literally right now because of whatever interactions happened to help them get through whatever that issue was. We also do content moderation, which is a very emotionally charged interaction. And you could use AI to help that same process with coaching, et cetera, to really have a meaningful impact on the people. So I use those two examples because that's coming. So we will be implementing and using that technology to help us do a better job, to support our people to do the job that we're asking them to do.
Parallel case. I don't want an AI telling me I have cancer.
Yeah, definitely not.
But I love the idea that if I do a blood test or I have some other scan and there's some signals, I'd love to have my doctor know that as absolutely early as possible, right? And then I want to have a conversation with the human.
Yes.
And so I think the similar,
That's a good example.
A little less dramatic, but it's like early detection.
That's a great example of a proactive AI. So a proactive AI might realize that this phone call didn't quite go as well as it could have. The customer didn't complain. The customer didn't escalate or ask for a supervisor. But the AI is detecting that there's a higher likelihood than usual that there's going to be a bad review and a bad sentiment.
Or what was Elsa in that conversation? Did they leave kind of happier than they started?
So this is an example where the AI can automatically, even after the call, escalate the matter to supervisor for review. And they can decide whether a follow-up call is warranted just because, right?
Or post-call, if there's a second call, review the first call for those cues. What could we learn? What additional coaching and training can we develop to solve the problem, so we eliminate the customer having to call a second time, as an example.
What has the reception been so far among TP experts when it comes to either notification or actual training on AI tools? Are people welcoming them?
They are, but what we had to do at the beginning was provide context of why are we doing what we're doing? What does it mean to them as individuals for their job? What does it mean to the company in terms of our strategy? And how are we balancing the AI and EI together? And we did that training together on purpose because we didn't want people, and again, an emotional response, but we didn't want people to feel like they're losing control or that AI is going to come in and replace their job, and so they won't have a career,
Yeah.
right? So we've approached it from that perspective, and that has eliminated a lot of I think, the angst from the change process. They understand what we're doing and why we're doing it, and they can also see, because of how we've approached it, the company's growing. So we're adding more jobs, more roles, and more specific customized EI roles into the organization, which shows that we're not contracting, we're expanding because of our strategy and how we're approaching it.
There's a surface level of empathy. When we teach about empathy, we talk about cognitive empathy, emotional empathy, and behavioral empathy. Okay, so the cognitive empathy, where the human or bot is hearing and going, okay, I think I know what this means. I suspect an AI could learn to do that better than a lot of humans. The part where you feel that connectedness, and it's not the word that's used, but it's a context around that word. It's
Relatability.
it's a tone of voice. It's a mirroring. It's a nuance. There's a relationship that's built, and there's something that kind of unfolds over time between people. I think that felt sense of empathy is the part that I just don't see happening.
So I'll disagree. Even though you're the empathy expert, I'll disagree with you there. But I'll stick to my original line, which is when we go to multimodal AI, when you're training on voice, when you're training on facial expressions, later on, it'll be when you're also training on body language. The same principles will apply that happen with text AI now. In the same way that text-based large language models now have spiked dramatically in their ability to, behave as boyfriends and girlfriends.
Right.
All the other modes, to the extent that there's training data, will do that. But it doesn't change the fact that it is just piecing together probabilities and statistics. It has absolutely no feeling underlying it.
Right.
And so it depends at that point, it depends how you define empathy. If you're talking about the behaviors or you're talking about the actual human connection.
That felt sense.
That connection will be absolutely one way. It'll be the human choosing or not choosing to perceive that. So, I would never date an AI. You mentioned that there are some people online that do. Presumably those people who do are choosing to accept that felt sense, even if it's really only in them, right? There are many people who will not choose that. So as long as you do not deceive and it's open-ended, it's transparent that it's an AI, no matter how well the AI performs or emulates, that connection will not exist.
Maybe the difference here, though, is how authentic the empathy comes across. And that may be up to the person's perception, I wonder, on the other end of it. And to the extent that you need humans to still have the genuine or authentic empathy component in interaction, do you think they at least can gain confidence from AI tools? And what do you mean there?
The issue.
Okay.
If I'm calling in to get a bank balance, I'll listen to an AI person tell me my balance.
Right, right.
If I'm calling in because I want to make this massive investment, I'd probably want to speak to a human.
Yeah.
If I'm calling to make and I actually just did this, a flight change. I didn't speak to a human, I did the flight change. If they had an issue and canceled my flight and there's no one there to talk to, or I need more help, I want to speak to a human.
Accountability.
So I think we have to be careful and remember that, especially the feeling of empathy, is 100% on the person that's calling in with the issue.
Right.
That's the connection. And sometimes you want to speak to a human to get that connection.
That's right. And accountability.
Exactly.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I was curious about this with younger people, and I was talking with one of my 20-something kids and said, "So do you ever call?" And my kid said, "Yeah, I mean, I look things up, I try it, but then when I actually can't solve it myself, I want to talk to a person
Yeah.
and get help."
So it's not generational.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting, and that I mean, we've seen some data about this that like when you want a human interaction, you want a human interaction, and I think giving people the choice to have the pathway that meets their needs is going to be an important piece of this.
When you're dealing with so many menial or mundane tasks, they're not taking a lot of brain power, but they're taking up energy, right? So if we're saying, okay, let's remove those and give those to AI, then are you freeing up the customer service person to have more bandwidth for the complex problems and thereby making them a better human?
Yeah, we've said that AI is already handling simple stuff, leaving more complicated stuff. There's a downside of that, which is that we need more skills, emotional skills, cognitive skills to solve those. But it's also more interesting.
Yeah.
And to your point, Nancy, during each call, if I can focus on connecting with you,
Yeah.
and the AI is doing some of the, so as I'm speaking, the AI is the one looking up the flights, or the AI is checking the
Yeah.
refunds options, then I guess a good analogy is the difference between a restaurant where the waiter is also bussing the tables and serving the
That's a
food,
good analogy. Yeah.
and the waiter is just taking the order and connecting with you, and there's other people doing those other tasks.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. And if we
Definitely.
can think about like putting the right tasks in the right tools
At the right times.
at the right time, right? And like let's have humans do what humans are really good at. And I don't want a world where, humans are, needing to break rocks and AIs are doing art and poetry,
Right.
right? Like I want humans to be, the having creative freedom and expression and like finding what makes life good. And let's outsource and offload this sort of most basic, boring stuff to machines that really don't care if it's boring.
Sounds like AI for good there, right? Let's talk a bit more broadly about how AI is already changing the workforce. And Alan, if you want to start here with your experience at TP, what are you seeing?
Yeah, so it's interesting. There was the World Economic Forum did a study they released, I think it was last year, on what some of the key skills would be by 2030. And the three biggest was AI, understanding, empathy, and emotional intelligence. Basically, the report says that anyone entering the workforce between now and 2030, those are the three, well, there's 10 total, but the three main ones that they were talking about that's really most important for us. So what we've done and how we actually designed the emotional intelligence training was really focused on those key aspects. And we've incorporated that into our sourcing and recruiting process. So we've implemented assessments, emotional intelligence assessments, to really help us cull those um, attributes out from people that are applying to work with us. We don't use that as a if you either have it or you don't, we don't hire you thing. It's because EI isn't a learned response, so we can help people through continuing education training develop that, which our program does as well. We've also incorporated all that will be this year into our performance management process. So it's really across the employee life cycle. So if you think about what that means is we will ask people certain questions when we hire them. We'll understand where they are on the emotional intelligence spectrum. We'll, in their onboarding and ongoing training, give them space, time, training to enhance whatever needs to be enhanced based on their role, et cetera. And that will be all followed through in coachings, one-on-ones, performance evaluations, et cetera. So through the entire employee life cycle, all to reinforce what we think is important, based on the research that we've done so far.
Great.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I say.
I would echo what you just said, and I would maybe add to it a couple traits, but that come after what you just said. One is a receptiveness to growth and learning, because if we're talking now about AI providing feedback on emotional intelligence during a call, the person has to be receptive to that and not
Exactly.
resentful of that.
Yeah.
They have to be open to that. They have to embrace it. And so that takes a certain mindset that you have to bring with you. The other thing is, as we talked about before, there are a lot of misconceptions about AI, such as the fact that it's always right or the fact that it can handle every case.
Yeah.
And so I would add to this that the more we become reliant on artificial intelligence for mundane tasks or for process navigation, the more critical thinking alertness becomes important
Yeah.
so that we don't take our, I won't mention any brands, but our car on autopilot and take our hands off of it and assume everything is fine. We always have to have our hands on the wheel. We always have to be judging and saying, do we agree with these decisions? Do they make sense for us?